Yeah, man. It's time to do the recap show, man. You know, we got to show how the fat tricks with money is always right. Hell no, man. Check 1-2 Fat Mac Almighty Triple XL coming at y'all live and direct from MacCity.com. Man, we busting heads open once again with my player partner, man, Tony Dreamer, Niggafucius Magneto. All right, man. Here we go. We gonna start off. Good God, man. Let's start off with Colin Kaepernick. Let's do that. Let's start off with Colin. You know, this is basically a We Told You So show. Have you been checking out what's going on with Colin Kaepernick, man?
Yeah, well, I've heard some things. I don't know in depth, but I do know his money has been cut.
And what did me and you say when all this shit was going on, where he was putting his neck on the line for these niggas? What did we say?
Niggas gonna stand back and watch him burn.
These niggas gonna watch that nigga burn, son. Well, that's what appears to be happening. That's, you know, from what I'm hearing, he's being cut loose from the 49ers, and no one wants to hire his ass. So I really hope he invested his money wisely, because, I mean, that's exactly what me and you said, man, was going to happen. Once all the smoke cleared, man, he was going to drop him like a hot potato. And, you know, once again, he martyred himself and he got crucified, man. So just want to say, yeah, the fat tricks with money is always right. Shit, you want to add any? Because there's really not much to add to that shit, man. But you want to add something to it?
I mean, that's what they did to Tommy Smith and John Carlos in '68.
Right. Mm-hmm.
When they made that Black Power symbol back in '68, they didn't have anything to, you know, spare them of those consequences. And some people are going to say, well, you have to go through that when you stand for a principle. Well, we're going to talk about somebody else whose ending turned out, or has turned out thus far, quite different. But, yeah, they did that to John. I mean, and it wasn't just that, they would humiliate them. I think I said that in the last podcast.
Exactly.
They couldn't find jobs. They couldn't find work. I hope that Kaepernick can find work.
Right.
But they couldn't find work. For the longest, they suffered, you know, extreme poverty. Tommy Smith said in an interview on ESPN he was working at a car wash. A car wash. It wasn't even a black car wash. It was a white car wash.
Mm-hmm.
And that whenever the customers would come through, the white car wash owner would tell him to go put on his Olympic jersey and put on his black glove and stand out there and raise his fist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Almost mocking him. And so they went through, their families broke up. You know, they lost their relationships or marriages or what have you, broke up. Their families broke up. And they were, you know, they suffered for about 20 years until I think him and John Carlos got jobs as track coaches, you know, at high schools or whatever. But they suffered, man, for real. You know, and just like the dude, the Watergate dude, Frank Wells, he busted, you know, the Watergate burglars and facilitated the biggest political scandal in the history of America that resulted in Nixon resigning. What happened to him? Ain't no niggas had no jobs to give him. He did a speaking tour. He spoke at a few colleges here and there. After that, he died on food stamps, on assistance with diabetes, from complications from diabetes.
Now, who is this? Because I'm not familiar with this. Who is this again?
Frank Wells is the guy that busted the burglars at Watergate.
Oh, so that was a
security guard.
Oh, that was a brother. Oh, okay. I wasn't aware of that. Okay.
No, he was a brother.
Oh.
And he suffered for that shit. You know, Nixon went home. Nixon went home, and G. Gordon Liddy went to prison but got out. And now he's a multimillionaire with a radio talk show.
Okay.
He was one of the people involved in Watergate, and he got out, and there was an infrastructure there to make sure that, you know, they protected him when he got out. He got multi-million-dollar endorsements. Hell, Vince McMahon had him at WrestleMania.
Wow, okay.
You know, and he had a radio show, and today G. Gordon Liddy is very successful. he's one of the forerunners of right-wing talk radio. So they looked out. You know, when he took one for the team, somebody looked out for him. Mr. Kaepernick is not so blessed. Good luck.
Yeah, it go back to, you know, a lot of cats in my inner circle, since we are affluent, man, and, you know, we are students of the art of war. You know, it was always a situation where we just said, he just need to leave this so-called demonstration shit alone and just get the money. You know, keep playing your sport, get your money, and if you really want to put a dent in so-called white supremacy, then you use your money and you fund certain so-called subversive pro-black programs. You know what I'm saying? You would get a lot further doing something like that instead of, you know, basically slitting your own throat by going out in public doing this shit like that, man. It's like, you know, you got to use ninja style, you know, iron body ninja style tactics, man. I don't know. Do you agree with that?
Well, I wouldn't say it's a cookie cutter approach. I would say that's definitely probably the smarter way to do it. But let's face it, there are some people. When you're going through that jungle, you know how you know where the landmines are?
Right.
Somebody stepped on one.
Okay.
Unfortunately, there are some people that are going to have convictions. Ali had convictions, and his convictions cost him. Some people are going to have convictions, and some people have to stand on those convictions because it squares with their principles. I'm saying if that's what you want to do, you better make damn sure that you can come back from it. You better make sure you come, because there ain't no cost. There is no cost in martyrdom. Not there is no cost. There is no benefit that comes from martyrdom. Especially for niggas. There is nothing to be gained from martyrdom. Absolutely nothing can be gained from it. You'll make some small little steps, and then in about 10 or 20 years, those steps, it'd be like you never took them. Your footprints would be erased from the sand. It was like you were never here. You know. Yeah. So for those people that have that conviction and those people that want to make that stand, hey man, God bless you, but you got a hard road to hoe. Now, people that do fund black causes, when they get caught, sometimes they don't fare any better because their own people will call for their crucifixion. You know what I mean?
Well, I think I know where you're going here, bro. Well, let's segue into that, man. You hit me up earlier yesterday, and we talking about the Cosby situation. He went to trial, and he had a hung jury, and then it turned into a mistrial. And of course, when all of this shit popped off, you know, like me and Tony was like one of the only few cats, man, that was basically saying that all of this shit is baseless, man. All these females are basically, they just some disgruntled ass bitches, man, ratchet bitches, and he was power tricking on these broads, and somehow, some way, the shit went south. I guess he promised them fame and fortune or whatever, or, you know, he was taking care of them at a certain period of time. Then, you know how it is in the power tricking, man. You know, you got so many females knocking on your door. Sometimes you gotta let some females loose from your squad. And it looked like he cut some females loose from the squad, and they was, you know, they feeling some type of way about that, man. So I guess this was the perfect time, the perfect opportunity for these females to pile on and give him what he deserved. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, he got a mistrial. You know, me and Tony, we did our due diligence. We looked up a lot of these females online, and we found out who they were, their backgrounds, and a lot of the allegations were baseless. Turned out a lot of them were outright lying. Their stories conflicted. And, you know, now all of a sudden, cats is trying to, you know, change their tune because they seen exactly what we seen. You know, damn, how long, was it a year, 2 years? It's been going on for a long time, Tony. But, yeah, man, but go ahead and weigh in on that, man. What do you think's going on with that?
Well, this is in many ways a difference or a distinction in Kaepernick.
Okay.
Cosby did exactly what you said. He did fund radical. Cosby was the man who raised money for Betty Shabazz.
Right.
Okay? Cosby was the man who funded a lot of the action that took place in the early 70s as far as black people getting on. Not to mention the countless universities and colleges that he funded. Okay?
Yeah.
The countless colleges and universities that he put, the countless people that he put through school.
Right.
And, you know, the people that he assisted, and the organizations, the amount of money he poured into inner city grassroots programs. And if Mr. Cosby was to count up every nickel that he's been charitable towards black people with, in spite of what these pro-black niggas will tell you, that will equal about 20 people's salaries, which is more than what they'll see in this life and look at what they did to them.
Right.
But there's a more fundamental point I want to make here. Cosby survived this trial. One, his money was very important, because I have enough sense to know that had he had a public defender, he'd be in jail this very morning.
Right.
Okay? His money, but the thing is, not only did he fund these causes, he had enough sense to look out for himself. He owns his own images. He owns the royalties from the Cosby Show, which TV One is now showing. He owns those things. So that was a check that will be coming for the rest of his life.
Right.
And that was their purpose in taking the Cosby Show off the air, is to deprive him of that revenue. But he was such a good businessman. And and for him do you know Bill Cosby got an honorary degree? He never attended any college.
Okay.
Bill Cosby barely had a GED, but he was given honorary degrees. And he was given these things from colleges because of his charitable contributions. But my point is that this man with a GED, because he was basically on some manhood shit, he understood business to where he was able to invest and own a little bit of everything. So Bill Cosby had money coming in from so many sources that it wasn't even funny. They couldn't cut off all of his money.
All right.
So the choking him out, I think on this trial here, he probably spent about a good $5 million in cash on this trial. But the state also he outspent the state.
Okay.
That's another thing. But there's another more fundamental reason that goes back to what we were talking about. Bill Cosby's trial is deadlocked for another very important reason. Somebody sat on that jury, heard that story, and said, this shit doesn't make sense.
Man, imagine that. Don't make no sense. Somebody with some brains.
Doesn't make any sense. But here's the point. Somebody was on that jury. Somebody was on that jury that said no. Or it could just be, it doesn't have to be just one person. It could have been 2 or 3 people.
Right.
We just know it was deadlocked.
Right.
Somebody sat on that jury and they said no. And then when the courts and the judges have this little slick thing they do, when you come back with a verdict, if it's not unanimous, they'll send it back to try to get and what that is, that's a little subtle trick. That's to keep deliberating. What that is a little subtle trick to get the jurors to convert the people away from what everybody else is saying.
Okay.
So if you got 2 people that are saying not guilty and the other 10 are saying guilty, they're going to extend deliberations for the purpose of getting those 10 people to change the mind of those 2 people. This happened several times in Mr. Cosby's case. And my point is, you see, we'll sit up here and talk about the system. We'll sit up here and talk about mass incarceration, how it's an important issue. But you can stop that shit just by participating in jury duty.
Okay.
Most niggas run from jury duty.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? The answer is right in your hands. And in order to participate in jury duty, you got to be a registered voter. This belies, and this is the biggest condemnation against these nothing-ass pro-black ideologies like I'm a Moor. I'm not an American. I'm a Moor. These type of escapism philosophy that end up isolating you and hurting you far worse than if you just take over and infiltrate the mechanisms that cause you the most grief.
Just like the whole concept of niggas don't want to be the police, but they crying and bitching about the police every fucking 5 seconds. You know, it's like, well, why don't you go down there? Why don't you sign up to get on the police force? I ain't gonna be no police. But then you crying and bitching, you know, when one of your relatives get popped by a white cop. You know what I'm saying? Stupid ass, low IQ nigga shit, man.
Well, but in this instance, it was not only his money kept him alive, but somebody if John Gotti, example, if Sammy the Bull Gravano's testimony, you know how many times, you know why John Gotti got the name the Teflon Don?
Because wouldn't nothing stick.
Because of his dapper looks. Hell no.
Wouldn't nothing stick on that nigga, man.
No. Do you know why nothing stuck on him?
Shit, because motherfuckers are scared to testify against him. I don't know what. Why?
It got to the jury.
Oh, okay, yeah. He made sure that the odds were stacked in his favor on the jury.
Jury nullification.
Right.
That's what the process is called.
Okay.
Jury nullification.
All right.
So if it were just Gravano's testimony, they wouldn't have gotten a conviction. If they had just stripped Cutler away from them, which they did, they still wouldn't have got a conviction. If they would have just sequestered the jury, they still wouldn't have got a conviction. But when you strip the man of his attorney, they forbid Cutler to even defend him. After they stripped Gotti of his attorney, then they turned around and sequestered the jury. And not only sequestered the jury, they made the identity of the jury a secret.
Okay.
And then, after doing that, they turned Gravano. You see?
Yeah.
So they had to go through extraordinary means to get him. You see? So my point in saying that is that the jury, your participation, you hold the keys to the solutions of a lot of your misery.
Okay.
But that fucking low IQ, scary ass, I don't want to be the man, or I don't want to participate in the system, or I'm a Moor, and I don't respect American law, and sovereign citizenship bullshit. You can be a sovereign citizen all you want. If you get convicted by people that are American citizens, you go into an American prison. Sovereign citizen.
Wow.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Somebody on that jury said no. And then when the judge will go back, continue to deliberate, it came back again. The person said, or persons said, no. Go back again. The person or persons said no. See, in order for a conviction to happen, the prosecutor needs all 12 people to buy into his narrative. The defense attorney only needs one person to say no.
Okay.
The prosecutor needs 12. The defense attorney only needs one.
Okay.
And again, most niggas run from jury duty. But then cry and complain about their kids doing long prison sentences.
Geniuses, man.
Geniuses.
Yeah.
Want to sit up here and march and throw up in white people's faces talking about policy changes. Want to go to white folks about policy changes. And we need to change the sentencing. We need to change this and change that. When you can stop all of it just by going to court. And I guarantee you, if you had enacted Paul Butler, a black law professor, during the period of the OJ trial, a black law professor at Georgetown University advocated the theory that on nonviolent drug crimes, black people need to get on juries and absolutely refuse to convict people on nonviolent weed offenses.
Okay.
He absolutely put this position forward. You should be a cog, be a dangerous cog in the wheel. If you're a dangerous cog cog in the wheel, then what they do is they'll change the law. Why? Because you're using the law to benefit you. So they're going to have to change. They're going to have to adjust you because it's not the nature of power to back up from anything else but some more power. Because you exercise your power, now they will respond to you.
Okay.
They ain't going to respond to you by marching. They ain't going to respond to you by getting on TV. Because they know you just want to be seen. But when you get in and do what whoever or whomever on that jury did in the Cosby case, you change the whole equation.
Okay.
Again, his money played a very important part. And now, again, he's back on TV once, so that money flowing back in now.
Man.
And it cost the state. He actually outspent the state on his defense. So now here's how shit works in the real world. The state had to pay those jurors. They had to feed those jurors. They had to house those jurors.
Okay.
For the entire time of that trial, and he outspent them by spending $5 million. Mr. Cosby got another $5 million.
Mm-hmm.
Do you really want to bring him back to trial now?
Shit, man. I mean, do you think that's going to happen? You think they're going to bring him back? They're going to try and do it again?
I think they're going to see which way the wind blows.
Okay.
If the public is screaming for another trial, maybe they will.
Okay.
But I don't think they want another trial. I really think the state of Pennsylvania does not want to try Mr. Cosby again.
Okay.
Trials are like wars. They're expensive.
Okay.
It's expensive to fight this man. This is real black power.
Shit, real black power. And we had the majority of black people joining in the lynching of someone with some real black power. That just amazes me, man. I'm still just befuddled by that shit. I'm like, really? These, especially, I went on record talking about how these so-called pro-black niggas were the first ones to jump on board to try and give Cosby 50 lashes, man. I'm like, man, what, really the fat tricks with money got to point out that this is real white supremacy? That this shit is, man, seriously? Now, let me ask you this, man. What do you think was at the nucleus of that shit, of them coming at Cosby, man, in the mainstream media? What was that about? Because that shit just didn't just come out of nowhere.
I think for a lot of people, they had a chance to kick dirt on him. Some of it was jealousy. I do think that there was some evidence that this is a result of a backlash that he tried to make a real power move. Some people have said that was buying NBC.
Right.
Others have said that he was going to start up a rival network.
Okay.
I think that had he done any of those, he would become very dangerous, because there's a line in Hoodlum that says, from the movie Hoodlum, where the white man said, I got bodies. Hey, Bumpy Johnson and went downtown and blew up Dutch's Brewery, which is where the white folks live.
Right.
And so the district attorney said, if one crazy nigga is provoked into crossing the line, they will all come. In other words, translation, if you got one nigga that's going to try this, more of them are going to do it.
Exactly.
And when you start controlling the images and the ideas of what's being put out there, you become a very dangerous person. You become a very dangerous person. BET was looked upon at one time as subversive.
All right.
Now they took the shit over and dumbed it down. You know, they used to have a show on BET called Lead Story.
Okay.
And they had a Democrat up there, they had a Republican up there, and they had a moderate. They had people to represent three different political ideologies, and they discussed the issues from all three of those ideologies. You also had Our Stories with Bev Smith. When Robert Johnson started to become more corporate, and when he started getting more advertisers, more of that white revenue dollar to come in, you saw those shows leave. You saw those shows fall by the wayside. Because what happens is now whoever pays the piper calls that tune. if I'm paying your advertising dollars, if I'm buying onto your station, I control what you put on there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
So what in essence is happening is that now as white people apply power through their money, they're beginning to change the substance of this television network. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then when it became Viacom, all that shit was gone. When Viacom bought it, all that stuff was gone. All of it.
Yeah.
All of it was gone. So now what you got on BET now is bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Total bullshit.
So if a man is coming that's going to control the images, and they know, see, they understand Cosby's truth. See, Cosby is a comedian, but Cosby will make you think.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of dude they don't want at the table, because they know he's much more than Jello pudding pops.
Yeah.
They know that. They know that that's real power, and they know that man, his even though he doesn't have a GED, his IQ is probably higher than theirs.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yeah.
That's real black power. So in coming after him, they had to cool that down. They had to stop his money that was coming in from his royalties on one end, and then they had to turn around and run him through this scandal in the pub, which backfired on him. Because once you put a trial, anybody will tell you, once you put a trial in the court of public opinion, that's a mixed bag of tricks.
Okay.
Because you can either galvanize people for a guilty verdict or embolden those to not render a guilty verdict.
Right.
And so you can't really create what's called an objective jury or fair and partial jury, if there is such a thing. So in publicizing this and in inflaming the issue, they actually slit their own throats. And so he got a valid and credible defense team behind him. He had a female, a black female. He played the game. He had a black female initially as his defense attorney.
She was brilliant. I
all
wonder why
that
she
stuff
left.
is very powerful.
Right.
You charged me with rape, but I got this woman up here as my attorney.
Mm-hmm.
See? So when he was able to play that game and play it well, and then when it came to certain evidence, he went and got him another attorney later on, but he had that black woman up there representing for him and speaking for him.
Right.
So now that image is, well, if he is a rapist, who are these women? Oh, they must be traitors. Well, no, they're not traitors, because these women make millions of dollars a year as attorneys. Monique Presley is a multi-million-dollar entrepreneur and attorney.
Mm-hmm.
So when he was able to do that and show that, at that point, the question became, it fell to, okay, well, we can't get him as far as publicity and propaganda. He has the means to hire an attorney, so we ain't going to trap him in this little rinky-dink-ass public defender system, so that's out the question. It all comes down to the jury, and that's what happened. So to answer your question, I do think that there was a motive in getting that man in court. I do think, and I think that for a lot of people, they knew that black people were going to go along with it, because in the eyes of the low IQ nigga, Cosby's not a real nigga.
Oh, I can't stand these niggas, man. You ain't lying about that shit, man. He ain't no real nigga, man. He
no real nigga.
He criticizing me.
When the Cosby Show came out, a section of black America said that's not real black America. I don't know nobody that's a doctor and whose mother's a lawyer. So your low expectation having asses can't relate to it, so you just totally throw it out the window. So they said, well, we like good times better. There was a man in that house before he fell into a labor dispute with JJ and got kicked off the series. Or fell into a labor dispute over JJ and got kicked off the series.
Right.
But there was a man in that house.
Yeah.
Niggas always relate. In other words, being real. And that's what I was trying to... I don't know if I did a good job of doing it. This real nigga stuff.
Mean po nigga.
Yeah. It's to be po, ignorant, and constantly prosecuted. Believe it or not, the pro-blacks are saying Ice Cube ain't a real nigga now.
Yeah, yeah. I know. Niggas a turn on you, boy.
Yeah. So this narrative, hurt Bill Cosby, this real nigga narrative, created by people like Michael Eric Dyson, and to some extent, aided in this witch hunt was Boyce Watkins, who has now softened his stance.
Right. You see which way the wind blowing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you see what he put his finger up, seeing which way the wind blows. But this real nigga narrative that black means, in the eyes of many people, black has a political definition, and that political definition is in some type of conflict with white society, be it through the police system, and that's not a bad title, but at least let black mean winning sometimes.
Yeah, no doubt.
Why does it always mean that you got to suffer? Why does black always mean suffering? Why can't black mean winning?
Mm-hmm.
Because real niggas don't win. If you believe NWA, real niggas don't die either, but I know that's not true.
Right. Well, let me ask you this, man. I don't know if you've been watching Facebook, but I got a little text from our favorite redneck, Scott. Scott wanted to chime in on the Cosby shit, and his question was this. He was like, well, I heard about that whole NBC thing when this thing popped off, dude, but I'm thinking if this is true, then how come they didn't come at Oprah in the same way, in the same vein? I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that? Why would they so-called go against Cosby trying to get NBC, but Oprah seems to have carte blanche to do whatever she wants?
Because Oprah didn't. Oprah has her own network.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
She has her own network, but Oprah doesn't put out anything that's subversive.
Exactly.
Oprah puts out the narrative. Oprah puts out, some grimy ass nigga fucking over this woman.
Right.
That narrative is not disturbing to them.
Right.
And on a historical note, they did come after Oprah.
Oh, okay.
The meat industry came after Oprah.
Right. Okay.
When she spoke up and she was talking about beef.
Yeah, I remember that.
It moved on her immediately.
Yeah, they was coming at her hot and heavy for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So they came after her, but you can't compare Oprah. Both of them are affluent and they have money, but Cos is his track record is longer.
Mm-hmm. Shit.
His track record is longer. His record of supporting causes that are good for the whole black community, that's stronger. It's way stronger, a lot stronger.
Right. Mm-hmm. What I try to tell him is, I'm like, look, Oprah's whole thing is feminism, man. You know what I mean? And they don't have any problem with feminism because the oligarchs and social engineers, I mean, they prop up feminism, man, because they want America to fall victim to feminine energy because that makes everybody more docile and easier to control. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like Cosby, what he was doing, just like you said, he was threatening to actually get rid of the so-called permanent underclass of black folks by buying NBC, man. Him buying NBC had the magical effect of possibly making us a nation of producers instead of consumers. You know what I mean?
If one comes, they'll all come.
Exactly. You know what I mean? They don't have such fears like that coming out of Oprah. Oprah's thing is women good, men are bad. That fosters the division, and it also creates, once again, a consumer class because, women consume. Women buy. They're mindless consumers. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, everything that she's doing, I mean, they want that. They want that feminist energy out there. But they do not want Cosby out there with that all-inclusive black woman and child, family cohesive unit vibe, man. They don't want that.
Well, but then let me back you up to this feminism thing.
Okay.
Do you know how the tobacco company was able to stay in business this long?
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that Edward Bernays situation with the cigarettes, how they...
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, do that, yeah.
During the early 20th century, when Susan B. Anthony and all these women started agitating for the right to vote, there's nothing wrong with them being able to vote. I'm not one of these people that say they shouldn't vote.
Right.
Okay, but let's keep everything objective. Somebody else got in this, and what they did was they did a study, a psychological study. Bernays did a psychological study, and what he concluded was that a lot of these women, psychologically, they associated, according to Bernays, this ain't my theory, that they associate the cigarette with the phallus.
Exactly.
It was a phallical. In other words, these women had a degree of penis envy. So what they were able to do is they were able to promote cigarettes as though it was in some way a woman having control or exhibiting some type of masculine characteristic, because there was some association between the cigarette and the symbol of the phallus. So they were able to get this, and they thought that, okay, they're promoting this because they want to get them to vote. They're promoting this because it increased the bottom line of the tobacco companies. They're promoting female liberation for the simple point. It's not that people shouldn't be considered equal. They use that energy to their benefit. It's sort of like Aikido or Jiu-Jitsu, where you use your opponent's forward momentum against it.
Right.
Well, this works politically. When they did that with the cigarettes, they promoted this image of women smoking as an image of independence, as an image of autonomy, as an image of importance, and latched on to your causes and promoted their agendas, not yours.
Right.
And that's how the status quo will take over. That's how they take over movements all the time. So when you talk about feminism doesn't really serve white women.
Right.
Feminism has been in effect now since the 60s or 70s.
Right.
And the face of white male, the face of corporate power in America is still white and male.
Shit.
Feminism did not win them the election, did it? Feminism cost you the election, didn't it?
Yep.
Because you got a backlash from all these dudes that was like, no. No. From all these white dudes that wasn't feeling all of this. Now, whether that belief or whether that image that was promoted is substantive or not, that's a whole different discussion. But this election was a referendum on feminism. Just like it was a referendum on welfare and social assistance programs.
Shit, man. The whole feminism joint, man, is all designed to fracture the family, man. And, you know, the oligarchs love fractured families, man.
Well, yeah, because that's what it does. Because if you can get, if you have children and the mother's working and the father's working, who's going to make sure that the children grow up to be productive human beings? The revolutionary author George Jackson said that feminism is a fake idea. George Jackson was a Black Panther.
Okay.
Just so all you I'm sure some of you pro-black niggas know that name. Wow. George Jackson. He said that feminism is a false idea because it leads to competition between the man and the woman, and it destroys the family.
Hell no. Shit.
Matter of fact, he wrote a letter in Soledad, brother, admonishing his mother, and told his mother to lay off of his father. Told his mother to stop all his competition, lay off, fall back from his father's name was Lester. Fall back from Lester, leave him alone. I'm paraphrasing. All this competition is unnecessary. Feminism is a false idea.
Shit. Hence the reason why they love Oprah, man. They let Oprah do her thing.
Yes, they will let Oprah do her thing because they know that brand of feminism that she promotes, the narrative that man is the source of all your evils, that is these corrupt men, because they know people in the public sector, in the private sector, in the so-called private market, people don't make decisions by intellect or intelligence. They make decisions by emotions. That's marketing 101. People get you to buy things based on emotion. right?
Right.
It functions on emotion. It's all about emotion.
Shit. Well, tell me this. Let's kind of backtrack a little bit, going back to Dr. Boyce
Oh,
Watkins.
let me finish that statement. Emotion is not dangerous. Emotion is never dangerous. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Boyce Watkins softening up his stance. So, like I said, you think he put up his finger to see which way the wind blowing? Because you remember he was talking cash shit when all of this shit popped off, man. I mean, he was just, man, this nigga was talking greasy about Cosby, man. But I guess, so I think what you're saying is he's looking at the court of public opinion right now. He's seeing which way the wind blowing, and he don't want to be on the wrong side of that, so he's softening up his stance. That's what you're saying.
Well, he's definitely looking. He's definitely changed his position.
Okay.
And I don't think so much as it is the court of public opinion as it is the court of black public opinion.
Okay.
Of course, I think he's looking at the winds and see that Cosby isn't going to get convicted, and he understands that the momentum has switched in this. So, yes, he is looking at the court of public opinion, but he knows at this point that verdict is a vindication from a lot of black men who subscribe to, his financial seminars, who subscribe to his platforms, who read his internet newsletters and things of that nature. He has enough sense not to sit there and beat a dead horse. So I think Cosby's success and public opinion and the fact that, a lot of brothers are saying this is bullshit anyway. So, yeah, it is the court of public opinion, but at some point you got to look at reality, and it's time to move on because, again, I don't think the state really wants to try this case again, so it would be pointless for him to keep driving, the point home that Cosby is somehow guilty of something that he hasn't been convicted of.
All right, let me ask you this. I was watching the news and I seen that bitch, Gloria Allred, on there bumping her gums, man, and she wants the trial. She wants to retry the case, of course. So she's saying she would like other females who have accused Cosby to sit in on this case with Gloria, with whatever name, Constant, whatever the hell her name is. And so I'm asking you, with your expertise, what you've seen in the courts, is that actually possible? Can they actually bring in other women who have alleged, stories of Cosby's so-called sexcapades? Can they actually, if they retried the case, could they bring those women in and try and sit them on? Go ahead.
Let me answer your question this way.
Okay.
You can do anything.
Right.
The question is, can you get away with it?
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
So technically, they can do it. The question is, can they get away with it?
Okay.
Can they bring those women in as witnesses, as rebuttal witnesses, in a resulting trial? Should they choose to try Mr. Cosby again? Can they bring in those witnesses, those women as rebuttal witnesses? They absolutely can bring those women in as rebuttal witnesses or witnesses for the state.
Okay.
They can absolutely bring those women in. Now, those women, if they want their own charges, see, it's a double-edged sword. If you bring these women in as witnesses, you know what the defense attorney's going to say?
No.
Did you file a case against him?
Okay.
Well, no. Okay, you didn't file a case, but you testified that he did something that you didn't file a case against.
Okay.
And so there's a jury instruction that the defense attorney can ask the judge to give the court that will limit the credibility that they give that testimony. Okay. Now, sometimes that works. Sometimes it doesn't. But what happens is it gives the defense attorney grounds, or it gives him leeway for impeachment of their credibility on the stand. Okay. And what Ms. Allred doesn't understand is that some of those cases have already been dismissed.
Exactly.
Some of those women did sue civilly, and those cases were thrown out of court. They never made it to trial. So the fact of the matter is that even if you brought those women to any resulting criminal case, the problem is most of their testimony wouldn't even be allowed. You understand?
Yeah.
So you can do it, but can you get away with it? Okay, so you got all these women here. How many of them going to testify? So what difference does it make if you got them all there and most of them can't testify? Matter of fact, I don't think any of them can testify.
That's what I'm
because
thinking.
Cosby's team skillfully resolved those cases for the criminal trial.
Right.
And most of those trials, they have already filed a motion in limine, which is a motion to keep out certain information. The skillful nature of the skills of his defense attorneys, or the wherewithal or the knowledge of his defense attorneys, they had the good sense, to file those motions to keep stuff like that out.
Okay.
So Gloria Allred should know that.
All right.
But Gloria Allred know that other people don't know that.
Okay.
So the objective is to get other people to put pressure. What she's really trying to do is create other witnesses to some stuff that may or may not even happen.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was
Because
thinking.
people that she's asking to come forward really can't say anything.
Yeah, they've been debunked already. Shit.
Exactly. So, and any testimony that they would have is not dispositive, one, because 9 times out of 10 they ain't going to even be able to testify. And the ones that can make it through that process, they're going to get ate up on cross-examination. Just like the one witness that they brought in there. She got ate up on cross-examination.
Okay. These lying-ass bitches, man. I'm trying to tell you, man. Now, if they retry the case, would they retry it again as a civil case or criminal?
They can't. It's done. If they retry it, they can't retry it as a civil until the criminal matter is resolved.
Okay.
So they would have to retry it again as a criminal case.
Okay.
Because he already had the civil case for her.
Okay.
He reached a settlement with her. Remember now?
Right.
He reached a settlement with this woman, and they put a gag order in place. This is when this was covered in the podcast you and I did way back in 2014. They put a gag order in place to seal the testimony. It was the judge that said open the testimony from the deposition. And that became the basis or the foundation of the criminal charges.
Well, it's crooked
So the
ass
civil
shit.
trial has already happened, and it was already settled.
Okay.
So ain't no civil trial coming back. It's just the criminal.
Okay.
They done shot their wad in the criminal. Now the question is do they have enough juice for another criminal trial? What I believe that they're going to do, I could be wrong, but what I believe they're going to do, they're going to wait and they're going to hope that this dies down and goes away. Because if this comes back, they're going to have to spend an ungodly sum of money just to convict a 79-year-old man.
Hell nah, man.
His money is just that long.
Right. Shit, boy.
And who knows, next time the jury may deliberate for 3 or 4 weeks. Do you really want to spend that? Kai's got that kind of money. He got his show back on television now. His money coming back in.
That's what's up, boy.
The faucet is back on now.
That's what's up. That's what I'm talking about, man. Yeah, all these niggas stood by and was just cheering at this nigga getting burnt, man. I'm like, ooh-wee. I was like, man, you know, it's no wonder why niggas can't get nowhere in life. You know, they don't know when they got a good thing, and they cheer, and they just relish the fact that one of their 4- or 5-star generals is getting burnt alive, man. I was like,
well, they 5-star general has the misfortune of not being a real nigga.
Man. You ain't no real nigga. You ain't no real nigga, Cosby. Shit. I don't understand it, man. Shit. But check this out, man. Try to keep this shit short, man, short and sweet. But let me go ahead and hit you up with another thing that just happened in the news. And, you know, Cat's been hitting me up. And I ain't really commenting on it because it's just like, nigga, of course. You know, it's like, why are you niggas steady surprised about this shit? About the Castile case, about the cop that killed him, he got off and he ain't gonna do no time. So, niggas want to know what's going on in your head about it. And I done let a couple cats know, like, nigga, I don't think shit about it. It's just, you know, par for the course. That's what happens, you know, in a police state, nigga. Shit. So, I mean, I'm not surprised. So, I mean, what are you thinking about it?
This is what happens in the police. This is what happens when the police have carte blanche. Do you want me to get all emotional? No, because I know the solution to all of this. If you want to stop all of this, and I'm not going to advocate killing police.
Right.
That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But if you want to stop all of this, you have to take over the police unions.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the real power behind the police departments. The real power behind the police departments is to decentralize or to take over the police unions. Organizations like the Fraternal Order of Police.
Yeah.
That's a lobby. That's an economic and political lobby. Those are the people that protect the police. Those are the people that litigate for the police when they get in trouble. Those are the attorneys for the police when they're charged.
Shit, the solution is to go and riot. That's the solution. We need to riot, Tony.
The solution is to burn down the pharmacy, Dick.
That's the solution, man. Fuck joining the police force and trying to take over the police unions. You know, real niggas don't do that. Real niggas burn down the pharmacy.
Yeah, real niggas burn down the pharmacy.
Oh, shit,
and deprive their grandmama of her medication. That's what real niggas do.
Yeah, man. Yeah, niggas is like, what do you think? Like, why y'all still mad about that, man? We done told y'all it's just common sense. The blueprint is take your monkey ass down there, fill out an application, join the police force, or lobby, you know, go somewhere, man, where you can get a hold of these politicians, man, and you can grease their pockets, and, you know, you can goddamn start controlling the police unions or something, man. Other than that,
you have to decentralize. And the reason is because the Italians have held control of the police unions for God knows how long. You see?
Right.
And that would mean, how do you think that the mafia operated so long? Here's the benefit of what I'm saying. Let me make this in black and white so most people can understand it. Adam Clayton Powell, former congressman and pastor of Abyssinia Baptist Church, Adam Clayton Powell went to the floor of Congress to argue discrimination in the police department. And you know what he was talking about? It's the same thing Stephanie St. Clair went through, but I'll get to that in a minute. What was happening was the police unions that were controlled by the Italians, which came from the same neighborhoods as the Italian mafia, they would bust the black numbers runners.
Oh, yeah,
because they were in the pockets of the Italian numbers runners.
Right. Remember that.
So the Italian gangsters got the police to arrest their competition. And so when black gangsters would try to buy police, the Italian gangsters would take their money and still put them in jail. That's how Stephanie St. Clair got out after she was busted. She gave testimony against the judges and police that she had paid off to protect her. The problem was not in just paying money. The problem was that the Italians had control of the unions. Therefore, they had control of the police investigations. They had control of internal affairs. They had control of every sector that had anything to do with punishing the police. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
So joining the police force is one stage. The second stage is to begin to create delegations to where you can represent a certain delegation in a certain district. After that comes, you run for these national offices. But in the middle of all of this, guess what? The community got to support you.
Well, we know that ain't going to happen because real niggas don't do that shit. Real niggas don't.
Ain't cops.
Nah, man. Shit. Man, these motherfuckers, you know the sort of derision and hate I got, man, trying to join up for the police force and corrections and all that shit. Boy.
You can see the derision I get, and I used to be a mailman.
And you was trying to help niggas. You was trying to cut niggas' brakes, man. That was just be killing me, man. Just like the Cosby shit, man. You go and you put in that work, man, trying to help your peoples, man. But these niggas, man, they steadily squirting piss on you, man. And it's like, well, I see why we just gonna be spinning our wheels, because who wants to sign up for that shit? Who wants to sign up to be fucking scorned because you're not a real nigga.
Yeah.
Or perceived real nigga. You know what I'm saying? When
Yeah.
you're trying to help your peoples, man. It's fucking ridiculous.
Because, see, in their eyes, if you ain't a real nigga, that means you ain't a man.
Shit, man.
You understand?
Yeah.
You might as well be a white man. But even though, well, let's not go there. Anyway.
Okay.
That's how it's done. Not only do you have to have an economic base for any political organization you have to have people. You have to bag and run people for those off. Or if you're not going to run for that, or no one from your community is going to run, you put someone that is sympathetic to your community, and you put money behind them, and you put them in that office.
Man. Shit.
So the problem was, if you don't break the back of the institutions that protect the police when they commit these acts, then my tear ducts are dry. I don't have any more tears to cry for that.
Damn. Well, maybe if you was a real nigga, man, you'd understand. But it's obvious, man, you don't understand. So you ain't no real nigga.
Yeah, I guess I'm just not a real nigga.
You's a coon-ass nigga, man. You
I'm
over here.
Yep, I'm part of the coon brigade.
You licking
coon
the boots.
Collaborator.
You licking the boots of the white folks over here talking about joining. Yeah, you want to join the police force and you want to get behind the unions. That's coon. That's coon shit, nigga. Coon ass nigga. Oh my God, man. What we gonna do, Tony, man? How we gonna survive with niggas with a thought process like this, bruh? How we gonna do
You're
it?
not gonna survive. That's why that current state must be allowed to implode. You have to do what Mao Zedong did.
Wow.
Mao Zedong, in order to keep his army from being corrupted by the influence of Russian-tainted Marxism,
Right.
he got his troops, he marched his troops all the way to the other end of the country. He had to isolate them from the contaminant. He had to isolate them from the pathogen and then build and create a whole new army and a whole new political system that would run that country. Now, was Mao Zedong perfect? No, he wasn't.
Right.
When he got in power, was he abusive? Yes, he was. But that's not my point. My point is that his strategy was that he knew he couldn't do anything with these people that were muddle-headed and scatterbrained.
You was an elitist ass nigga.
Those people had to die off. And he had to create a whole new organization that would enable China to throw out Western collaborators and Japanese influence.
Man, that's some elitist ass shit you talking about. You was an elitist ass coon, white boy, bootlicking, butter biscuit, tap dancing ass nigga, man. And I won't tolerate that shit on this show. You hear me?
Yeah, I'm in trouble.
You said Mao Zedong said he was not going to tolerate the scatterbrained and muddle-headed. Is that what we got over here, man, in the hood, man? Scatterbrained, muddle-headed niggas, man. Is that what you saying?
Yes.
Oh, nigga.
Yes.
Shit, man. Oh,
yes.
okay.
People with school grades for IQs. 65, 75, 80.
God damn.
That shit.
Hell
That's what
no,
you got.
man.
And until that pool is cleaned out, it's going to be a painful process.
Wow.
I'm not saying it's going to be a painful process, but the group that will emerge from that will then be able to change the situation. They will be able to turn the tables on the whole damn problem.
Right. Hell yeah. So that's your answer for the Philando Castile verdict right there. You know, join the police force and get behind these police unions and control them. And therefore, when shit like this happens, you know, you niggas won't be standing out in the street holding hands singing "We Shall Overcome," huh?
Decentralized, institutionalized power.
There we go.
You have to break up established. Even Martin Luther King said that, but I guess he wasn't a real nigga either because he didn't believe in rioting.
Of course not. He ain't no real nigga.
He ain't no real nigga. He said that, look, if we don't do something, that's when they killed it. When he was going to lead the march to Washington on the government and refused to leave, and he's confronting the government. And And what they said was they were afraid that he couldn't control them and that those people would get out of hand and there would be a revolution. That's the real reason they killed him.
Wow, man.
They didn't have the military power to stop that insurrection because they had sent everybody to Vietnam.
Okay.
So King said, if we don't radically redistribute wealth and power in this society, we will be marching forever.
Well, was he
Jimmy
wrong?
Hoffa said it this way, and I'm going to say this, and this is how I said. Jimmy Hoffa, there was the Jack Nicholson movie with the movie Hoffa with Jack Nicholson came out in '95.
Right.
He was going in front of the Senate committee that was being run by Robert Kennedy to testify to alleged mob contacts in the mafia, and he was going up there to testify, to give his testimony. And a police officer came up to him and he said, "Hey, Jimmy, one day are you going to organize the cops?" Jimmy Hoffa looked at him in the face and said, "That's easy." He said, "Someday I'm going to organize the crooks. Then we all sit down."
Okay.
Okay. Once you get at the root cause and you deal with the root cause, why are you marching?
Exactly.
Why are you upset?
Shit. That's the beautiful thing about the propaganda, man. They train these niggas only fuck with the branches of the tree and not the roots. You know what I mean? So they forever pruning the tree. You know what I'm saying? But they ain't actually getting to the roots of the tree. If you don't want the tree there growing and keep obstructing your vision, you just goddamn you go close to the roots as possible and you cut that shit down. You know what I mean? Niggas want to keep goddamn fucking around on the branches, man, and the propaganda keeps training them to do that shit, and they keep thinking they actually doing something by whining and complaining and marching and steadily just crying about shit. I'm like, ain't y'all tired of crying? God
you
damn.
Study all assassinations.
Right.
The ones that were successful. You know what they did?
What's up?
They got rid of the power that was put in place to keep them alive. It's much easier that way, isn't it?
Wow, no doubt.
You see?
Boy.
Malcolm X was killed because his security was compromised. Martin Luther King Jr. was killed because his security was compromised. It's much easier that way. So my point in bringing that up is, until you deal with the entrenched established power that allows such injustices, don't come to me and ask me to shed a tear.
You gonna march forever, nigga.
No. I'm gonna turn the station and I'm gonna watch reruns of Sanford and Son.
Oh man, I know you's a coon now, nigga. You don't even care. You don't care about your brothers and sisters getting lit up in the streets. You just gonna sit around and watch Sanford and Son?
Boom, 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 bam.
Ah, man. You killing me, son. Okay, check it out. We gonna stop, man. You know me, you go all day with this shit, man. All right, this joint, man, it's gonna go on YouTube. I'm not even gonna put it on the other spot, man. Shit, I done ran out of upload space, so it's going on YouTube. So, man, I'd like to give a shout out to all the players, man, coming in and hollering at us, man, and basically giving us props. Once again, bro, we gonna try and make a real serious run for some of this YouTube shit, man. We got cats over here that's really digging this on YouTube, so we gonna try and make a more conscious effort to put more hard-hitting programs, more lengthy programs on YouTube, man. So, just bear with us, be patient with us. We gonna get our shit right, man. You know what I mean? And, of course, I'm gonna be over on the Liberated Syndicate podcast website as well. So, let me say the topics of today was Bill Cosby, Colin Kaepernick, and Philando Castile. And once again, I always like to give my partners parting words, man. You know what I mean? Putting the capstone on the pyramid. Got anything you just want to say, man? You know what I mean? The parting words for the fellas, man. What's up?
Always a
it takes 10 licks to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Pop. Man, I'm scattered, man. I'm getting worse and worse by the day, man. Nigga, I can't think for shit, man. I'm trying to tell you, boy. All right, man. Appreciate you hitting us with that wisdom, man. We gonna go ahead and sign out. Fatmack, Almighty Triple XL, and my partner, man, Niggafucius, Tony Dreamer, Magneto, and we out, and we out, and we out.